Hello everyone, it's 9:45. I'm TK and this is Coach on the Rocks. Lovely to see you, and as always, I'm hoping you're having a wonderful day. Let me know you're here, give me a shout, like or comment on the video as you always do, or send me a message. Because today I'm going to talk about, again, a topic associated with leadership. So I've read an interesting article. I've linked the author in the post, and it inspired me to think about something that I've been experiencing and noticing for quite some time. So there's a myth that leaders and managers are mostly useless. I mean, there's usefulness to them, but when it comes to the work they're doing, it's mostly like pretend and busy work and not really able to add value with their daily activities, and no one really knows what they do. It's an interesting one because it's, well, something that I've seen. So, for instance, we've been working with one client, and we've been asked to help with some of their leaders. In fact, some of them were the founders of the business, and we've observed exactly that. Right? The people were unavailable because they were just doing busy work. They couldn't really explain what they're doing. Not that they were lazy or not contributing. It's just that the things they were doing were strangely lacking value or any point whatsoever sometimes. In fact, throughout every organization I worked with, I've seen it over and over again. It's an interesting one. I remember at one point, actually on a conference, a leader has shown me their diary, and it's like, "Oh, look, it's full of meetings. I can't do anything. Look how busy I am." It's like, so why are you participating in all of them, right? Why are you letting other people like that dictate your diary and invite you to these stuff? I was like, well, I would probably reject half of that as I do. But, getting off my high horse, it would seem that that's the problem. And I could spend the time flaying and flailing leaders and managers for doing that. But hey, I understand that might happen. In fact, sometimes there have been occasions when it happened to me. But the question is why? I'm not lazy myself, although sometimes it's just hard to be productive. But, most people would like to do some great work and contribute, but what's preventing them from doing so, and what's getting them bogged down in these useless activities? In my experience, talking to people and also experiencing it myself, there's possibly at least two things. One is the feeling of overwhelm, right? So you've got this situation where you come in, you look at everything you need to do, and you kind of go into this decision paralysis. I was like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do now, right? What am I supposed to focus on? If you're like a direct contributor, you probably have like one or two value adding activity you can just sink your teeth in. But when there's so much as a leader, because you theoretically are spread too thin, you're responsible for so many things, and also feel a bit responsible for the things that people that look up to you for leadership do, it can become hard, right? So you come in, you try to think about what can you effectively do, and you get paralyzed, and then you grab the first thing that comes to mind, which is usually like a very safe mechanism of procrastination. So you go to a meeting or do one of these useless things which feel like work, but they're actually busy work. I can fall into that myself, right? Coming into stuff every day, looking at the board full of tasks and tickets, I can get overwhelmed. The strategy I use, and it's not always working, is you cannot start work until you actually, I'm not saying plan the day, but prioritize the things that you will be doing, right? Don't start doing, just say, okay, that's a list. I'm going to do that, and only then you can do things. This really helps me if I have the the diligence and the discipline to do that. So that's one thing. The second thing I think is possibly what happens is the fact that overwhelm is one thing, but the other is just like stress, and the fact that sometimes the leaders themselves are in the organization, in many organizations, leaders and their positions are designed in such a way, and workflows, ways of work, that they literally have nothing effective to do. Literally, they are not permitted. Their responsibilities are so that they can't just go in and do something effective. You can go onto the shop floor and use their hands to add value. Many of them would actually love that, but it's not something that the organization permits. It's really bizarre, but it happens, and it happens a lot, right? Many organizations constructed their role in such a way that it's not possible, or like the social construct of their position in their organization precludes them from mixing in with the crowd and the blue collars, whatever silly names, that can't just go in and do stuff themselves, right? It's not becoming of them. They shouldn't. So that's a huge problem in many organizations, which really hurts because they're forced to do this useless work. Don't do it. Don't get into that. As an organization, if you're a member of the people team and you're doing organizational design, watch out for that, because it's actually quite awful and not helpful for leaders to be in this situation. Now, hopefully, on one hand, I'm confirming that this happens, but on the other hand, there are reasons for why this might be the case. So instead of complaining for that, if you're in a position to do something about it, as a leader yourself, or as someone designing the organization and the way of work, do that, because obviously leaders have so much talent, so much drive, and it goes to waste many times. But hopefully, if you're listening and viewing this, it's not a mechanism for your procrastination. 10 o'clock is coming in a couple of minutes, and you can actually look at all of the stuff, take a pen or your keyboard, make a list for the day, and get cracking on something effective which adds value. I wish you all the best for you to do that, and I'll see you again tomorrow. You can tell me how it went. Have a nice one. Bye-bye.